Hello everyone out there, this is Adjusted Chiropractic Health Channel at One Health and Fitness. Dr. Campbell, welcome.
G'day, good morning.
Dr. Sean Campbell, one of our magnificent chiropractors at the One Health facility, Adjusted Chiropractic, here talking about, what are we talking about today? Sugars?
So
Part two of what we were talking about last week.
Yeah, we did a video on eating and about fats and how important they are in the diet, and we touched a little bit on proteins as well, but we kind of touched on sugars, and we were just talking about, we just briefly said, well look, we all kind of know that sugar's not that good for you, and we said, oh, we probably have a lot to talk about there, and thought we'd leave it to a different video, so this is it.
Now, I'm very confused about sugars actually, because obviously we get sugars like we would have in lollies or processed foods perhaps, or all the a lot of the aspects of a westernized diet these days. But one of the things that doesn't make sense to me is fruit, which is, we would think a very healthy food, has a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah.
So what is it about sugars that are they different sugars? Are they the same? Should we be staying away from fruit?
Yeah, well, this is a bit of a controversial topic, and the main thing with fruit is that it does contain a lot of very good things in there, a lot of antioxidants, a lot of micronutrients, which is very important for the body. But the main thing is, the main sugar in fruit is fructose. And the interesting thing about fructose is the way our body processes fructose is the same way our body processes alcohol.
Okay.
So what that means is the place in the body where our fructose is stored and is processed is very finite. There's not a lot of room there for storage of fructose.
Okay.
And when we consume even not that much, we then start to store it as fat quite quickly, and it starts to cause negative problems with the body to do with insulin production and fat storage. And
So in the way that it actually, that you mentioned that it's broken down the same as alcohol, is that the sugars in alcohol you're talking about, or is it actually the alcohol content?
Yeah, it's actually the alcohol content, the actual.
Extraordinary.
Yeah. So basically in countries like Australia here, and I mean we're the same. We go the same way as America. The biggest problem with fatty liver disease is now caused by soft drinks and fruit. More the soft drinks than anything, because soft drink contains a very, very high amount of fructose. But it's rather than having an alcoholic fatty liver, we're now seeing a very large number of people getting a fructose caused fatty liver.
Wow.
And this is even happening in children,
Extraordinary.
teenagers now.
Extraordinary. So does that explain why if we have too much fruit we can get a lot of bloating, we can get a lot of gas being produced?
So
is that part of that same process?
Yeah, this comes down to a bit of the fermentation process that happens. So if you've eaten a large meal consisting of a lot of protein and fats and things that need to be broken down, and then you eat fruit after it, that fruit sits in the bowel for a long time, starts producing gases and things as it's being broken down. You get a fermentation process happening with bacteria growth and things like that. So this is where that bloating and not feeling great can occur. And of course it depends on different people. Some people have different digestive enzymes that they produce, different proteins and things that they use to break down, different enzymes they use to break down different things in the digestive tract, which is, of course, explains the differences between why some people get affected worse than others.
Wow. So should we be eating fruit or not?
Well, really a little bit of fruit is fine. I think years ago it was 5 a day. It was pretty much the standard advice.
5 pieces of fruit a day.
Yeah, and now there's
5 pieces of fruit and two pieces of vegetable or something, was it? Is that correct?
Yeah,
From
I think it was higher veg as well. I think it was like 5 and 5.
That might be incorrect.
But they've brought it right down now, and I think even most people are saying like 2 a day for fruit, which even to me that's a bit too much. I would suggest at most 1 piece of fruit a day. You want variety in that as well, and then so really 2 pieces a week, 3 pieces a week is really where you want to be at. when we say fruit, the ones that you can be eating every day are more your berries.
Okay.
So when we're talking about fruit, we're talking about the ones that are your bananas, your apples, all those large sort of sugary fruits. The smaller ones like your blueberries, your blackberries, those you can actually have more frequently.
And also as society has changed, I suppose eating frequently and what's recommended, we walk into a supermarket these days and there's always fruit available.
Yeah, any time of year.
Yeah, but if we didn't have supermarkets and we had to rely on the fruit off trees, literally, we'd only have oranges, winter time. We'd only have lemons at that time and mandarins and bananas, more of a summer fruit. They wouldn't be all the way all through the year like we do get them. So,
and well, an interesting thing, and I mean, of course, with all of the talk of Paleolithic and things, if you were a hunter-gatherer, obviously we don't know 100% how it worked and how they ate, but from what we can speculate, I was reading something the other day and they were saying that getting a ripe piece of fruit ready to eat for a hunter-gatherer would have been a very rare occasion.
Right.
Because as much as they'd have to be in season, have to be the right moment, all of that, but we wouldn't be the first ones getting to fruit. There's always going to be other birds and animals that live in trees and things like that that are going to get to the fruit before humans would.
Wow.
So again, it goes back to that Paleolithic. We probably wouldn't have got that much fruit in our diets.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
But foraging for berries and things like that, we probably would have got
Exactly.
a lot more.
We're a lot more likely to be getting those sorts of foods.
Wow, extraordinary. So where to from now? So we've established that we need to have some fruit. I mean, there are enzymes and there are antioxidants within fruits that we do need to eat. But our society, we are having too much, obviously. So where is the balance? Obviously, does that then lead into more vegetables? Does that then lead into...
So this is really, we should be just having much more veggies. That's just all the research shows. The societies that have more veggies live longer, live healthier. It's simple as that. So yeah, if you're going to start, just say if you already eat 3 or 4 pieces of fruit a day, just change a couple of them for some veggies instead.
And probably a bit of a lifestyle change as well, because it's always been, growing up as a child, there's always been the fruit bowl there.
Yeah,
but there wasn't necessarily the vegetable bowl, was there?
No.
Carrots and all
good
these
point.
other things.
Yeah, we should have a veggie bowl.
Yeah, right next to the fruit bowl maybe. Or get rid of the fruit bowl and just have the veggie bowl. So with regards to one of the things that we've been working pretty hard on is the Transitions Lifestyle Program. And this is a lifestyle program that is put together to teach how to eat well, how to exercise well, and really how to look after ourselves and change our lifestyle. The recommendations in that program are similar to what we're talking about now. Is it less fruit, more vegetable?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure it's 1 piece of fruit a day. They recommend in their ongoing diet that they recommend as a lifestyle type program. So this is not the detox week. This is not your intensive weight loss. This is just for your maintaining health week after week.
Yes.
Yeah, they recommend 1 piece of fruit a day.
Okay.
And then their veggies is unlimited. So there is no limit, and I think it's 8 pieces they recommend minimum per day, which I know a lot of people that struggle
to eat that much
in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big change from always grabbing, whether it be, and the hardest thing I find, and we are talking about sugars today, and there are a lot of sugars in breads, aren't there? Particularly white breads.
Yes. So this is kind of where I wanted to steer this conversation, and that was we were talking a bit about fruit and simple sugars, but yeah, it's about carbohydrates.
Yes.
And so your breads, your pastas, anything with wheat and flour, your cake and pastries, all these sorts of things. The way I like to put this is, if you're a diabetic and you had a bowl of pasta there, or you had a Freddo Frog there, you would know that you could eat the Freddo Frog and it would be fine, but the bowl of pasta would probably kill you. And people just don't really understand that carbohydrates break down into glucose, into sugar in the body the same way that chocolate and sweets and those jelly type lollies and things break down into.
Well, the Freddo Frog is sweet, like right there. You know the sugar content is in there. It's sort of an underlying thing, the carbohydrates. You know, in pastas, in breads.
Yeah, you don't taste the sweetness, but in the body breaks down the same way, processes it the same way. And I mean, the interesting thing about this, to me, it's all about insulin. So when we're talking about fat loss, insulin is part of the way that the body tells it to store fat. So the more insulin we produce, the more the body starts storing fat. And yeah, they talk about how when you eat simple sugars, quick sugars, they get absorbed very quickly. You get this spike in the insulin, and then you get this quick drop, and so it's a high peak, but it's only for a short time. But if you were to eat something like a big bowl of pasta, a sandwich, some bread, something with complex carbohydrates, you get this lower peak, but it lasts longer before it actually starts to drop. So if you were to actually, previously they would say that this is better, this lower, because the peak is less. But if you were to actually take the overall number inside that graph and look at the volume of insulin produced for that quick peak versus that long drawn out, lesser peaked carbohydrate-based meal, you would find that there's far more insulin that gets produced. And so that's a longer amount of time that you have insulin in your system that the body's releasing, which is more chance to then decrease your sensitivity to that insulin. This is where you start getting more chance of your diabetes and your heart disease, and your fat gain as well.
And well, type 2 diabetes, it's basically the pancreas being exhausted, isn't it? Or creating so much insulin over so many years. It's just
well, actually, what happens is you have receptors, and over time you've got all this insulin in the body readily available, so the body starts to down-regulate and switch off the receptors, and so now there's less receptors, but you're still getting all of this insulin, and all of a sudden you've got it that can't be used, you've got this excess, and that's where so the body starts, pancreas starts getting overwhelmed, and you start getting these diseases associated with it.
Over a long period of time. We just don't wake up with diseases like diabetes or heart disease or cancers. You just wake up with that. This happens over many years, doesn't it?
And it's amazing what the body can actually handle before you start seeing symptoms and before you get a diagnosis of diabetes or cancer or something like that. The body will put up with a lot before it reaches that point.
And doing the transition lifestyle program myself, I understand that what I was brought up with was, breakfast time was you'd get up and you'd have some cereal with some milk, dairy, or you'd have some toast. So it was all just carbohydrates or
porridge.
It's porridge. We were brought up. Uncle Toby's porridge was, good for you.
It's good advertising.
Absolutely,
it's good for their business. Absolutely.
Lunchtime would be a sandwich, with bread or a roll or something like that, and then at night there'd be, a few times a week there'd be the rice, there'd be pasta, there'd be bread with that meal as well. So it was a pretty heavy sort of stacked
standard diet is up around that 60 to 70% carbohydrates. And a lot of that coming and then a lot of that was the complex carbohydrates, because we've always been told simple sugars are bad. So then people are going, no, I'll stay away from the simple sugars, but I'll have a slice of bread. And so just causing more harm, really.
And doing the lifestyle, the transition lifestyle detox week particularly, which is pretty much all the vegetables you can eat.
It's a lot of veggies. Not as much protein.
I literally find that I can eat so many vegetables, but my body doesn't feel full. I can't reach that point where I say, my stomach is full. Where I can
get that
very
same
easily
stuffed feeling.
So, and it's almost as if the body is saying, give me more. More vegetables, more nutrients.
Laps it up.
And then, so it's an extraordinary program. Well, there you go, sugars. Any final words?
Nah, I mean, we only touched on this briefly, but as we all know, it's the getting those sugars, as much as the breads and those carbs are really bad. I mean, the worst one's your soft drink. So
Yes. Soft drinks should not be-
liquid
Yep.
versions of sugars, again, same thing. You're getting very, very large amount of sugar into the body at one time. And then the other thing with the soft drink is the fructose. So,
a thing I discovered a few weeks ago, tonic water has a lot of sugar in it.
yeah, I'm not surprised.
No, I thought tonic water, being so bitter, it didn't have much in it at all, but it's got a very high content of sugar.
Yeah, so yeah, be careful what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Very important.
Plain water, filtered water.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's the episode for today, sugars. Building on the education that we have here at Adjusted Chiropractic in the One Health facility. Any questions out there, just let us know. Go to our website. If you need to speak to us with regards to anything, if you need an assessment, if you want to learn more about lifestyle programs, just give us a call. Just contact us, email us. We're always available. Have a good day. Be healthy.
See you later.